Let's all rise for the national item.
Thank you.
Fellow shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, it is with pleasure that I welcome you to this 39th annual general meeting of our company, Nigeria Aviation Handling Company, PLC, Nahco Avians. In view of the current COVID-19 pandemic, the directives to minimize social contact by restricting the number of persons at public gatherings and in accordance with the Corporate Affairs Commission's approval and guidelines on holding annual general meetings of public companies, the attendance of this meeting is by proxy. I hereby call on Chief Boniface to give us an opening prayer.
Let's pray. Let's pray. I'm loud. Oh. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty and everlasting King, we praise you. We thank you who have made it possible for us to sleep and wake up this morning, able to attend this function. Father, it's not by our own power, but the might of Jehovah Almighty God, who have made it possible for us to be here this hour. Father, we commit the chairman into your hand, the directors. We lead them up into your care, and the management, and the staff of this great company, and the shareholder and other regulators that are here present to witness this meeting. Father, we pray that this meeting shall be a success.
Amen.
By the time we leave here, we're all going with joy and
Amen.
happiness.
Amen.
And the company will continue to grow from strength to strength.
Amen.
Father, we thank you because none of us shall be missing.
Amen.
As we have gathered here today, Father, come next year, all of us shall all come in mass to grow this company.
Amen.
Because this is a company that has been paying dividends since inception, and they continue to pay dividend,
Amen.
even higher one.
Amen.
At that matter, whether COVID or not COVID, will not stop this company
Amen.
achieving its aim in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Father, we thank you, Lord.
Okay.
Chairman is in your hand. Take him care of this meeting.
Amen.
Let him not speak of his own,
Amen.
but that which you are laid in his heart, he will speak.
Amen.
In the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you, Most High God, for answering prayer.
Thank you, Lord.
This is many we pray through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
In the name
Amen.
of the Father,
Fine.
the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you very much, Chief. I would like the company secretary to confirm that we have a quorum for this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with Section 230 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act and Article 62 of the Companies Articles of Association, the quorum for this AGM is 25 members present in person or by proxy, holding not less than 10% issue capital. May I call on the registrars to confirm the attendance of this meeting today?
Good morning, Chairman of Nigerian Aviation Handling Company PLC. Good morning, directors. Good morning, distinguished shareholders. For this annual general meeting, we received 264 proxies, totaling 566,051,532 units of shares of Nahco. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, the registrar. Having confirmed that we have a quorum for the meeting, I now declare the meeting open. I would like to call on the hotel management to deliver a safety briefing to this meeting.
Good morning, sirs. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Kehinde Oladele. I'm from the safety department of the hotel. I'm here to take you through a brief safety tip. We have a body sanitizer machine at the lobby entrance. Face mask is compulsory in the hotel. Hand sanitizers is located at key entry point and lift landings. In all the entrance of the hotel, temperature is taken with thermometers. We have 6 emergency exit on the 2nd floor. The closest emergency exit is just outside to your left or right. The hotel is well equipped with fire safety equipment such as smoke and heat detectors, fire extinguishers, fire hose reel, and water sprinklers. The hotel has a crisis management team and a crisis management plan. If during the course of your meeting the fire alarm goes off, we urge you to remain calm where you are. If there is any need for evacuation, the emergency response team will be here to lead you to the muster point. The hotel has a clinic at the basement for first aid requirement. Finally, let all maintain social distance during our stay. Thank you once again for choosing Radisson Blue Lagos Ikeja. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. You're welcome.
Yeah, once again, thank you very much. In line with the notice of meeting and our 2019 annual reports and accounts already in your possession, we have the business of the meeting set out thereon. Shareholders will be asked to consider each item on the agenda, and we have the opportunity to second each motion put to the meeting. There will then be an opportunity for questions on that particular motion only before the vote on it is taken. Shareholders have been provided with a link to join this meeting. Due to restriction of number of persons at public gatherings, not all members of the board are physically present. However, the profiles of all the directors are contained in the annual report. Therefore, I would like to introduce those that are here, starting with myself. My name is Dr. Shendemi Oladapo Fadeni. On my immediate right is Mrs. Tukumbo Adenike Fadeni. On my immediate left is the company secretary. Other directors present are Sir Sunday Unamdi Unwosu, KSS. On my far left is Mr. Fani Mokun. Sitting at my back, making sure I'm okay, is Engineer Solagbade Olukayode Alabi, Mr. Tajuddin Moyosola Shubayo. And then far left is another one there, Mrs. Abimbola Adwola Adebakin. The directors that are not here are Engineer Mohamed Gambouma, Mr. Tafik Oluwatoyin Sama, Mr. Olumuyiwa Augustus Olumekun, and Prince Sahid Lasisi. Thank you.
Mr. Tajuddin.
I've mentioned him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's someone that is hiding behind me there. I think it's the problem of the mask. Mr. Tayo Shabayo, I think I mentioned his name. On the table on my right, to the extreme there, we have the stock exchange representative, Mr. Gostime Iwenekai, right? Yes. Thank you. Representing the Corporate Affairs Commission is Mr. Ikem Christopher. Representing the Security and Exchange Commission is Mrs. Kelechi Azubuike Luke. You are welcome. On the table on my extreme left, you have the registrar, the representative of the registrar, Mr. Ayola Adiola. We have the representative of Ernst & Young, our external auditors, Mr. Fumi Ogunlowo. You are welcome, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I now call on the company secretary to read the notice of the meeting. No, we have Alhaji Page. Yeah. Member of the audit committee. Yes. Thank you very much. Alhaji, you are too tall, I can't forget you. And Mrs. Bakare there. You're welcome, ma'am. So, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, please, I'll call on the company secretary to read the notice of meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Notice is hereby given that the 39th Annual General Meeting of Nigeria Aviation Handling Company PLC, Nahco Aviance, will hold at the banquet hall of Radisson Blue Hotel, Ikeja GRA, Lagos, on Thursday, 16th July 2020 at 11 a.m. to transact the following businesses. To consider and if thought fit transact the following ordinary businesses which will be proposed as ordinary resolutions. Number 1, to receive the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019, together with the report of the directors, external auditors, and audit committee thereon. Number 2, to declare a dividend recommended by the board of directors of the company in respect of the financial year ended 31st December 2019. Number 3, to re-elect the non-executive directors who, being eligible, now offer themselves for re-election. They are Dr. Shinde Oladafo Padeni, Mr. Taufik Oluwatoyin Salman, and Mr. Tajuddin Moyoshola Shobayu. Number 4, to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the external auditors. Number 5, to elect members of the audit committee. Proxy. A member of the company entitled to attend and vote at this annual general meeting can appoint a proxy to attend and vote instead of him. In view of the current COVID-19 pandemic, the directives to minimize social contacts by restricting the number of persons at public gatherings, and in accordance with the Corporate Affairs Commission's guidelines on holding of annual general meeting of public companies by taking advantage of Section 230 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act using proxies, all members are hereby advised that attendance for the meeting shall be by proxy. Shareholders are therefore advised to kindly appoint proxies to represent them at the meeting, as the company is bound by the directives on the maximum number of people permitted in public gatherings. A member of the company entitled to attend and vote at this meeting is entitled to appoint a proxy and attend and vote for him. The proxy need not to be a member of the company. Consequently, members are required to appoint a proxy of their choice from the list of the proposed proxies to represent them at the meeting. The proxies are Dr. Shinde Oladafo Padeni, the board chairman, Mrs. Olatokunbo Adenike Pabemi, Group General Manager, Chief Executive Officer, Sir Sunday Nnamdi Nwosu, KSS, Mrs. Adebisi Oluwayemisi Bakare, and Mr. Matthew Akiladi. A proxy form is enclosed in the annual report For the instrument of proxy to be valid, it must be completed, duly stamped, and for the purpose of this meeting, the company has made arrangements at its cost for the stamping of the duly completed proxy forms, which must be deposited at the office of the registrar, Cardinal Stone Registrars Limited, number 358 Herbert Macaulay Way, by St. Dominic Catholic Church at Saboyaba, Lagos, or by email to registrars@cardinalstone.com, not less than 48 hours before time fixed for the meeting. Dividend. If the dividend recommended by the directors is approved, dividend will be paid today, Thursday, 16th July, to shareholders whose names appear in the register of members at the close of business on Tuesday, 30th June 2020. E-dividend. Notice is hereby given to all shareholders to open bank accounts, stockbroking accounts, and CSCS account for the purpose of dividend payment in line with the Securities and Exchange Commission directives. Detachable application forms for e-dividend is attached at the annual report. Attached to the annual report to enable all shareholders furnish particulars of their bank accounts to the registrars as soon as possible. The e-dividend form is also available on the website of our registrars, Closure of registers of members. The register of members and transfer books of the company will be closed on Wednesday, 1st July 2020 to Friday, 3rd July 2020, both dates inclusive, to enable the registrars to update its records. Nomination for the Audit Committee. In accordance with Section 359, subsection 5 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap 20 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, any member may nominate a shareholder as a member of the Audit Committee by giving notice in writing of such nomination to the Company Secretary at least 21 days before the annual general meeting. The Securities and Exchange Commission's Code of Corporate Governance for Public Companies has indicated that members of the Audit Committee should have basic financial literacy and should be able to read financial statements. Therefore, nominations should be accompanied by a copy of the nominee's curriculum vitae. Unclaimed dividend. Shareholders are hereby informed that a number of dividend warrants have been returned to the registrars as unclaimed dividend, and any member affected by this notice is advised to contact the company registrars, Cardinal Stone Registrars Limited, located at the address I mentioned earlier, or through their website, their email. The list of unclaimed dividend can be accessed via the company's website or the registrar's website. Right to ask questions. It is the right of shareholders to ask questions not only at the annual general meeting but also in writing prior to the meeting. Such questions should be addressed to the company secretary and submitted at the registered office of the company not later than 48 hours to the meeting. Directors' profile. The profile of directors, including those for re-election, is enclosed in the annual report and can be accessed on the company's website. Electronic annual report. The electronic version of the annual report will be available online for viewing and download from the company's website, www.nahcoaviance.com. Shareholders who have provided their email addresses to the registrar will receive the electronic version of the annual report via email. Furthermore, shareholders who are interested in receiving the electronic version of the annual report should request for it via email to registrars@cardinalstone.com. Live broadcast of proceedings. Shareholders should note that they can observe the proceedings of this annual general meeting via a link that has been provided in the notice to the meeting. All this by order of the board, dated 28th May 2020. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, distinguished members, shareholders.
Thank you, Company Secretary. Distinguished shareholders, my statement is contained on pages 10 to 14 of the already circulated 2019 annual reports. Do I have your mandate? Taken as read? Yes, sir. Thank you. And now ask the representative of the auditors to read out the auditor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The auditor's report is on page 50 of the financial statement. Independent auditor's report to the members of Nigeria Aviation Handling Company PLC. Report on the audit of the consolidated and separate financial statements. We have audited the accompanying consolidated and separate financial statements of Nigeria Aviation Handling Company PLC, the company, and its subsidiaries, collectively the group, which comprise the consolidated responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibility. We have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the ISBA code and in accordance with other ethical requirements applicable in performing the audit of the risk of material misstatement of the consolidated and separate financial statements. The result of our audit procedures, including the procedures performed to address the matter below, provide the basis for our audit opinion on the accompanying consolidated and separate financial statements. Key audit matter. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I don't know if I can skip. Okay. All right. Thank you. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So I will go to the last paragraph. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. In accordance with the requirement of Schedule 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAP C20, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, we confirm that, 1, we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. 2, in our opinion, proper books of account have been kept by the group insofar as it appears from our examination of those books. And 3, the group's consolidated and separate statements of financial position and statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts. Signed by Fumi Ogulowo on behalf of Ernst & Young, Lagos, Nigeria, and dated 29th of May, 2020. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Afan Awa Eram, Shareholders Representative, Mrs. Adevisi Bakari, Shareholders Representative, Engineer Mohamed Gamba Umar, Non-Executive Director, Sir Sunday Nnamdi Nwosu, Non-Executive Director, Mr. Tawfiq Olatoyin Salman, Non-Executive Director. The confirmation of issue of the accounting and accounting policy being consistent with the legal requirements, we were able to confirm this from the audit, the draft audited accounts which were submitted. We were able to establish that. Also, the scope of audit, scope and plan, comprehensive presentation was made by the auditors, indicating what related rules and regulations are relevant to apply. We are able to confirm that it was comprehensive and it covered all the necessary areas for the audit. The internal control was in order. Every quarter we receive quarterly reports from Internal Audit and Compliance Department. If you look at it, things were improving actually. And the members of the committee, particularly the 5 members, one can say are really seasoned boardroom technocrats. They don't, anything that fast, you can take it to the bank. Honestly, they don't allow anything that is not in order to pass. So I really appreciate their contribution. They did well. We have reviewed the consolidated and separate financial statement area 2. Actually, the number 1 said it all, following the rules and regulations. Board will not act on anything if it has to go through appropriate committees. So whatever happened, committee finish it before getting to the board. So doing what should be done. Yeah. And this from this, I mean, I just want to say shareholders should be comfortable with what is happening. Everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The audited financial statement for the year ended 31st of December 2019, together with the director's report and the report of the auditors and the audit committee have been circulated to all shareholders by law. I hereby present the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st of December 2019, the report of the directors, the auditors, and the audit committee thereon before the meeting. Received? Yeah. Thank you. Shareholders now have an opportunity to ask questions and make comments relating to the reports and accounts. In doing so, however, it will help to ensure that we give the right answers if you could refer to the page of the annual report and account to which your question relates. Please note that all questions will be taken together and answers provided later. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors of Nigerian Aviation Holding Company, PLC, fellow distinguished shareholders, regulatory authorities here present, good morning. Abdul Wahab Ajani is my name. Sir, today we are celebrating an increment on our dividend, so I will be brief. Let's quickly turn to page 4. On page 4, financial report, in the financial statement, please, it's better to judge all than to all.
The chairman of Nahco Plc and the group MD, other distinguished members of the board, fellow distinguished shareholders, good morning. Because most of those competing with you today, some of them just paid about how many kobo? 16.5. But we are paying 30 kobo. Last year we paid 25 kobo. Some of them did not even pay last year or thereabout. The new listed that are joined the forum. But because of what Nahco is doing, we still have loyalty among clients patronizing you. That means there's something good in Nahco. They have seen. They're not running away. As a chairman, I think we should keep it up to retain those clients that we have been doing business with. When we travel at the airport to get our luggages from the conveyor belt, you know, when we see Nahco staff, they will shout if they have not been doing up and doing, in making sure that those luggage are getting in time at terminal so that people can get it and go to their destinations. Most of us speak out because we're stakeholders. That's how it should be. You will not be everywhere or the management. But as a stakeholder, when you are traveling and your company you are invested in, are rendering service, you caution them.
By the time I'm going to take the MD, I'm going to call the MD. But that put fear on them, and they will sit up. So we are an ambassador of the company. Wherever we find ourselves, we must also take a caution to our staff, our members. And some of them will sit up. That man who's maybe not the MD is a member of the company. As a chairman, I think every one of us must be a watchword and see that this company continue to grow and pay higher dividend. Mr. Chairman, like the first speaker, my brother highlighted, on this COVID, today we know that we have been locked down for 3 or 4 months. No flights have been coming in, either locally or internationally. How are we going to survive? We're able to pay 30 kobo now, which we're going to receive today. That's the beauty of it, that we have the liquidity enough to pay this dividend today, not tomorrow, not next week. Because some company will declare, will say, okay, next week we are paying this dividend. That means something is wrong somewhere. Either they just ego to declare this dividend. But you're not under pressure to declare dividend, because dividend is a prerogative of the board. You can make all the profit on earth. You try not to pay dividend out. We are flying back because of COVID 2019. We will not kill you. Because today, that's the essence of investments that we must reap in this COVID pandemic, that people can take something, go home to feed their family. And that's why some of the shareholders today are not here, because of restriction. Because we used to be a carnival to celebrate the achievement of Nahco. But today, this is where we are. Mask ourselves, cover ourselves. Because in the real time, you mask yourself, people will don't take rest that they're coming to rob in a hotel or in a bank. But this is why we find ourselves today. Mr. Chairman, in all of these things, what's the way forward? Are we likely to have dividend come next year, in view that there are no airline coming in and out? Even the local domestic, we are not flying. Everybody's grounded. Because life first before you fly out to make money. Mr. Chairman, I want to commend the board for this wisdom to pay this huge amount of money to your investors. That means you are taking them at heart, that people are suffering. Even though we don't have palliative, this is our own palliative we are having today. That's the truth. Every shareholder has invested. It's your palliative for your company. And that's why everybody said, go and do this AGM, which will commend the CSC for taking this initiative. Because somebody told me, why don't you cancel this AGM if people cannot crowd? I said, look, if you invested, but the most important is your money, that the board are declaring dividend. Why don't you have it? Take care of your family. We can't postpone this AGM because we want to have crowd. No. And I want to commend the CSC for that initiative they have taken, and the board, and the NSC. And that's why this meeting are being held virtually. Everybody has been supportive. Let me have my money and take care of my family. Mr. Chairman, you have done very well in this 2019 account we are considering today. The board have done very well. And my prayer that the board will continue to succeed. In whatever you are laying your hand, our client will continue to do business with us. And I pray that our staff will also have that confidence to serve them better. The MD have been doing very well since he came on board, and we appreciate hard work. And I know that the board will extend that hand of fellowship as you have been doing, but have to continue to perform very well. If you don't perform, we'll lash her with our tongue. That's all we know. My father, but you have not performed well. Yeah, that's the truth. But you need to tell the truth. If you have performed, we praise you. If you don't perform, we're not bringing you down, but we'll criticize you so that you can go back and put your head in shade. Look, I don't want to have another large come next year. I want to sit out to perform. Madam, keep it up with your staffs. Mr. Chairman, there's a place here that worries me on page 89 and 90. Page 89 and 90, that have to do with operational expenses, operational cost. Page 89 and 90. Even though that our turnover increased and we had about 1.something billion profit before tax, which is that we are now hit mark of 1 billion. Mr. Chairman, despite that, we didn't spend much. We are still watching cost. 6.5 billion as against 6.4
in the previous year. That's the company. They grew 6.5 billion as against 6.6. We are coming down in terms of cost. We are watching it. I want to commend the management for being prudent. Some people say they will make 1 billion. This time for spending. Let's spend, let's spend. Mr. Chairman, I am worried here, these relocations, expenses. How do we spend such money? Yes, even though that in the 2018, the group was 58 million. In 2019, 41 million, as against 8 million. Relocation. Where and what are we relocating that attracted such a huge amount of money? Is it administrative relocations or where? Because we know we are rendering service at airports, terminals. Have you seen the place? Yeah. Page 89. That's what I'm talking about, you know. So that's my problem there. In terms of staffs, Mr. Chairman, I've noticed in your notice that the board have agreed to reduce their sitting fees, allowances, and also the staff workforce, that the discussion is ongoing with the staff union. That means it's going to be across the board. So my appeal as a shareholder who are concerned that the staff must be duly diligent, consulted widely, union. I know what the union is all about. So that when they fly to resume operational commence fully, we don't need to have work to rule among our workforce, you know. So every one of them will be carried along. That yes, directors have set example. It's going to go across board. We are also dropping our own allowances and even the management, so that those junior cadre will also know that this board is affecting them, is affecting the management. Instead of them to lay them off to increase the labor market, which the government is not providing job. It's a private sector. And this is a private sector. That's the only people that can provide job. That we don't want to lay you off as because of the COVID, that we're not getting more business at this point in time. But because to retain your loyalty for the company, we want to have this court along across the board so that we can able to have them. When things normalize, we can also go back to pay them what they used to earn. I think that is good. But making sure that they all agree. If they refuse, you do the needful. That's the truth. There's nothing to worry about it. We need to tell ourselves the home truth. The money has not coming in. Because for 4 months now, you have lost a lot of revenue. Everybody, including the government. Mr. Chairman, that's the most important thing. Carry them along. And I commend you for that wisdom. And many companies are doing it. You're not the only one are doing it. So that we can save jobs. On page 19, Mr. Chairman, I'm also worried here about consulting fees. Consulting fees. We need to watch it. Consulting fees. We need to watch that. And also legal fees and others. We need to also watch that on page 90. It's also going up. We need to watch that. Mr. Chairman, also on the insurance, in this pandemic now, we need to get our insurance where they can reduce this premium. We can't continue to pay like this. Everyone should understand. They are into hardship is in the land, including company. So let us begin to have a discussion with them, how to pay this insurance premium, you know, because it's getting on the high side here. We need to watch that. You look at the medical expenses, it's also on the high pedestal. We need also watch it because we're in the health risk now. A lot of companies are buying all this and that, face mask. This is not what you budgeted. But emergencies have come. Everybody has to provide to the workforce, to your customer, sanitizers, all this and that. So these are things. How to first. Because I know Nahco have made sure that they have the head staffs, you know, but we need to also watch the costs as they come by. The last here,
is corporate gift, Mr. Chairman, corporate gift. We're talking of this year 2019 account. From 2018, we have a 3.5, but here 13.084. Even though SEC say, don't reach out to a shareholder about this gift sharing, whatever. In the Nahco tradition, they remember their shareholders at the end of year gift. And if I don't have that to receive, maybe December, Ilaya, people are not, having all this gift on there. We will also raise questions. How do you spend this gift? Who and who are beneficiaries? I'm a stakeholder. So I have to query how this amount of money has been spent. It didn't get to me as a stakeholder. I'm worried. Exactly. That's the truth. I have to speak. So if you convince me, shareholder benefited, we give one bag of rice, you get to our family, it's a gift we are giving out, in terms of celebration. If they come in and perform very well and have good customer, that's nothing they're giving. Giving out, God will help open door for you to blessings. Don't buy sex. He said, don't give. No. Because some of them receive in the office, they buy around and give to them, Christmas and cows. And when it comes shareholder, they raise their eyebrows. This is why I invested. See, if that gift comes to me, I don't have to come and query you, because I can say I receive it. That's the things. That does not make you not to be rich or poor when you give out. So, Mr. Chairman, like the earlier speaker said, this company, this account we are considering today is a good account. That's I said in my report that this is the vision you gave to us, that you are coming here to transform this company, turn it around, and pay much higher dividend. And I prayed that by the end of this pandemic, we're going to talk about 51 naira dividend by Nahco, and it shall come in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, and God bless
you. Mr. Chairman, distinguished board members, regulatory authorities, and my colleague, and distinguished shareholders, good morning. My name is Matthew Akinlade, the president of Nigerian Shareholders Solidarity Association, now Noble Shareholders Solidarity Association. First and foremost, I want to join the last speaker, not on gifts to shareholders, but on his commendation of the chairman, and by extension, all board members who have contributed to the result that we are reviewing today. For me, it's a very good turnaround. And that followed the chairman's commitment when he took over. I'm happy that we are able to deliver on your promise when you took over in 2018. Last year was a very difficult year for Nigeria. That was election year, and we know all the problem that is always associated with election in the third world, which we are. There were a number of closures, number of days you cannot work, and I believe it affected your industry. But in spite of all that, you are able to grow the revenue. But beyond growing the revenue by 2%, you reduce the operating costs by 1%. And with that, you are able to have astronomical increase in your profit after tax. The previous year was 107 million, and this year 770 million, which is 264% increase. It's commendable, and I think we should applaud them for this. Again, I want to commend you for being investor friendly. Why am I saying you are investor friendly? Your earning per share this year is 44 kobo. And you chose. You know the difficulty that ordinary man is going through in this country. We need this dividend. Even if you don't get government palliative, that should be our own palliative to survive the pandemic. And you did justice to it by giving us 30%. I want to say kudos to the chairman and the board. Having said that, there are few things I want us to take special note of and probably work on them. Last year, you have net finance income. But this year, you have finance expense of 127 million, the net, compared with a net financial income of 51 million the previous year. So we got to watch cash flow. One other thing I noticed on page 84 of the annual report, note 8, is your effective tax rate. The previous year, it was 61%. This year, it dropped to 57%. For me, it is on the high side. Yeah, it was a drop from the previous year. But even at 57%, if the average income tax is 30%, what and what? I know there's education tax and few other things. What and what taxes did we pay? So our tax, I don't know if you have a tax consultant. If you don't have, we probably will need to have a tax consultant to advise us to optimize our tax. I'm not talking of tax evasion, but I can talk of managing it effectively so that you don't pay unnecessary tax. I want to commend your effort at cost reduction. When we look at page 90, your admin costs came down significantly by 12% from 2,880,000,000 to 2,533,000,000. That's a significant reduction, despite the fact that you were able to grow the top line. However, there's a particular item I noted there, and that's what they call other admin expenses, which was 27 million the previous year and was more than doubled by going to 62 million. So we need to know what is in this. Another thing, going through the chairman's statement, I saw your transformation agenda being facilitated by KPMG, and look at what and what you have there. I believe it's a step in the right direction. And I would say we should follow it through. Do it diligently to ensure full realization of the benefits. On page 100, note 20, I look at withholding tax receivable, which was 472 million the previous year. It grew to 682 million. This is very, if you are not careful, you may have to impair some of them in the future if you don't pursue them now, especially with customers that you are people that charge withholding tax on your services, they need to give you the receipt. I've seen some companies that look for consultants to help them, to track them and collect for them, and they don't agree a fee. Their fee is a portion of what they collect. So if they don't collect anything, they don't get any payment. So rather than losing substantial part of this money, you can explore that area. Another thing I want us to watch is on our receivables. Receivables on page 109, note 31. I agree the receivables came down slightly from 2.3 billion to 2.29 billion. It came down slightly. But when you look at the breakdown, more than 180 days grew. And when you are talking of 180 days, people owing us for more than 6 months. People owing us for more than 6 months. This year is 1,121 million, whereas the previous year was just about 1 billion. So our credit control effort has to improve, because the profit we make, at times it may be paper profit until the money is collected, until you have your cash. Because in future, you may say you make profit today. If tomorrow you have to impair some of these debtors, then it's no profit. So we have to ensure that our credit control system is, we get the right people to do it for us. Finally, coming down to COVID-19, I know the impact is more serious in your industry, aviation industry. I know the time they have closed flights, which the local flight that they have just started not long ago, and the international flight, I don't think the regular thing has started. So I have no doubt at all it's going to impact negatively on your 2020 result. My own advice is survival strategy that you have to develop. And you will need to do this as a matter of urgency to minimize the impact. There's no doubt it's going to impact on your result. We all understand it because we are all in the system. But how do we minimize the impact? Look at areas that can cause cost. It's very important. I pray that God will give you the wisdom and the knowledge to survive and to grow shareholders' equity. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, everybody. As I said, I will answer the questions together. I want to thank you for your commendation about the dividend that we are giving. Consonant to what I promised you last year, that we will give more dividends. We will look at the consultancy fees that you have spoken about. We will look at the legal fees, Then for the union and for the staff, we are making serious consultation with them. And I think they are very, very reasonable. But what we have done meanwhile is that we have not sacked a single staff, even in this period. What we did, that we made sure that it didn't affect the company, was to sit down with them and say, guys, for you that are sitting down at home, we'll be paying them 35% for sitting down at home. I haven't paid them another 15% of their salary in the beginning of the year for housing, making about 50% this year. Unfortunately, we've spoken to government. We have not heard anything from them. Well, we believe that the government is a very humane one, and we believe they might be able to help us in future. But not waiting for that, we're trying as much as possible to take care of our staff, because these are very important people to us. And for those of them that are coming to work, we pay them 100%, and we also make sure that their health is taken care of because of this COVID. Now, you spoke about the medical bill. Yes, the HMO has just started about a month ago. And what we have done is to reduce this 168 million to about 90-something million. So already, we've already cut off almost 50 million from the medicals. So it took time to start up, but right now it has started, and we believe we will save costs from those areas. For the gifts, we have heard what you said, but most of the gifts are given to the staff and the agents. This is why maybe or most of the shareholders are not having it. But the GMD have heard you. I'm sure when they are doing the next one, they will know what to do. We're also looking at the operational costs and whatever we can do to reduce it, because the only thing we can do, as you rightly said, is to give dividends as palliatives to the shareholders, including me. I also need palliative. So that is the only way.
Big pockets,
Yeah. Sometimes the big pocket too is big problems too. So this is the only thing we can do to anybody that has put his money somewhere, is to make sure they get their dividend, because the economy is getting tougher and tougher, and we're in a storm, but we are in different boats. That's just the problem. But I can assure you that this boat will not sink in Jesus' name. With auditors and debts, the truth of the matter is that we're already doing what you recommended. For example, for the debts, we've got consultants who are not going to get anything, but they are going to get percentage from whatever they collect. So we're not paying anybody anything until you get anything from it. The credit control, we're working on that. COVID-19 this is something of the whole world, and as I said earlier, we are trusting the government that they will help everybody, including the aviation industry. The truth of the matter is that it's tough, but I'm confident with the able people that I have on board and the management, we will survive it. And I'm sure there will be one or two surprises even in the next few months in the industry, in the aviation industry. And I promise you that by God's grace, by the time you come, you'll be happier than how you are today. Thank you very much. So, declaration of dividend. We have now come to item 2, which is almost like item 7 in the normal agenda, which is declaration of dividend of 30 kobo per ordinary share, amounting to 487,265,000 naira only. B, and is hereby declared payable in respect of the year 31st of December 2019. I hereby declare the motion
No, Chairman, solution? Chairman?
No, a resolution.
Chairman, solution, yes.
Yes.
Chairman, we need to receive the audited account properly. You move a motion, and somebody seconded to receive the report, and all the total, etc. They will now move to approval of dividend declaration. We need to receive properly. You just say, I question to you is received. You didn't take the motion.
Is in order?
We can do that.
Move a motion. I second it.
Okay, so let's move a motion for to receive the account. I think we're done.
It's not legally compulsory.
Don't worry, let's just do it. Present the report and then let somebody move the motion. I move the motion, right?
Are you moving the motion to receive the account?
Yes.
Yes.
So let somebody second.
I, Martin Kennedy, I second the motion, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Those in favor?
Those in favor? The ayes have it. Thank you very much again. So, I hereby declare the motion has been duly carried out. The next business is the
dividend.
I therefore hereby move that a dividend of 30 kobo per ordinary share amounting to 487,265,000 naira only be and is hereby declared payable in respect of the year 31st of December 2019. Would someone please second the motion? Thank you, sir. I hereby direct.
Chairman, I think, let me also come in there. I think since we are doing the crossing meetings and the key part of
is with us.
The device have been provided for us, we need also now, since the motion has been taken, it's now for you to ask the registrar to conduct the vote.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, the registrar have to, take us that routine.
Okay. Thank you very much for your observation. Registrar, please, can you do that?
Thank you, Chairman.
That's exactly
I want to take a minute to explain how the voting device works. We've distributed the voting devices to all shareholders present. On the voting device, there are 3 top buttons, number 1, number 2, and number 3. If you are voting in favor of a resolution, you select number 1. If you are voting against the resolution, you select number 2 button. If you are abstaining from the voting process, you select number 3. Once you select your voting pattern, you must press the OK button at the topmost left of the voting keypad. Once you select your voting pattern, on this voting device, you must select the OK button for the system to recognize your vote. Thank you, Chairman. For the second resolution, we will take a poll, and once we're about to commence, I would announce to the House. And it will show on the screen.
Thank you. That was exactly what we were going to do. But it's good you made the observation. But that was the next thing on the agenda. So I hereby direct that a poll on the motion be taken forthwith by the use of poll voting devices. And I call on the registrar, which I've done. So let's do the voting right now.
The voting process has commenced. Chairman, with your permission, I would like to read the results.
Thank you.
For the resolution to declare a dividend, we have a total of 100% vote in favor of the resolution, both by proxy and in person at this meeting, for 571,444,999 units of shares of Nahco Plc.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, having the voting results on the polls which have been taken on the motion that a dividend of 30 kobo per ordinary share amounting to 487,265,000 naira only be and is hereby declared payable in respect of the year ended 31st of December 2019. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried out. Re-elections of directors. The next business is the election of directors retiring by rotation in accordance with Articles 107 to 109 of the Articles of Association of the company. In view of the fact that I am one of the retiring directors seeking re-election, I'm unwilling to preside over my own re-election. Therefore, in line with the provision of Section 241 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, the directors hereby present have elected Mr. Akiwumi Gostin Fanimokun to preside over the meeting regarding my election. I now call on him to proceed.
Thank you. Three directors that
Let me go and myself. They should see me go out.
Thank you. Three directors that are retiring by rotation seeking re-election for Dr. Sende.
Where's the toilet?
Mr. Taufik Oluwatoyin Salman and Mr. Tajuddin Moyosola Shobayo. In the circumstances, we shall have to proceed with the election one by one. I hereby move that Dr. Sende Oladapo Fadeni be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. Will someone please second the motion? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I hereby direct that the poll on the motion be taken by the use of poll voting devices, and I call on the registrars to coordinate the voting procedure.
Thank you, Chairman. For the resolution to re-elect Dr. Sende Oladapo Fadeni, we can commence the voting. Chairman, with your permission, I would like to read the results. Okay. Thank you. For the resolution to re-elect Dr. Sende Oladapo Fadeni, we have a total of 100% of total votes casted, 99.9% of total vote casted in favor of the resolution for 571,518,999 units of shares of Nahco Plc. We also have 297 units of shares abstained from the voting process.
Thank you very much. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, having the voting result on the polls, which have been taken on the motion that Dr. Sende Oladapo Fadeni be and is hereby re-elected the director of the company, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Now, having been re-elected, to hand over to Dr. Sende Oladapo Fadeni. Okay. Let us call him in, please. Congratulations. Now, having been re-elected, I'm happy to hand over to Dr. Sengi Oladapo to continue presiding over the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Fanimokon. I hereby move that Mr. Taufik Oluwatoyin Salman be and is hereby re-elected as director of the company. Will someone please second the motion, please? Thank you very much, sir. I hereby direct that a poll on the motion be taken by the use of poll voting devices, and I call on registrars to coordinate the voting procedure.
Thank you, Chairman. For the resolution to re-elect Mr. Taufik Oluwatoyin Salman, please can we commence the voting process? Chairman, with your permission, I would like to read the results. For the resolution to re-elect Mr. Taufik Oluwatoyin Salman, we have a total of 99.65% of total vote cast by both proxy and in person at this meeting. We also have 0.35% of total votes cast abstained from the resolution. We have a total of 549,518,999 units votes in favor of the resolution. We have a total number of shares of 2,397,000 abstained from the voting process. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, having the voting results on the polls, which have been taken on the motion that Mr. Taufik Oluwatoyin Salman be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried out. Now I move that Mr. Tajuddin Moyosola Shobayo be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. Will someone please second the motion?
I second the motion.
Thank you very much, sir. I hereby again direct that a poll on the motion be taken by the use of full voting devices, and I call on the registrar to coordinate the voting procedure.
Thank you, Chairman. For the resolution to re-elect Mr. Tajuddin Moyosola Shobayo, please we can commence the voting process. Chairman, with your permission, I would like to read the results. For the resolution to re-elect Mr. Tajuddin Moyosola Shobayo, we have a total of 99.65% of total votes cast in favor of the resolution, both by proxy and in person at this meeting. We also have 0.35% of total vote cast both by proxy and in person at this meeting abstained from the resolution.
Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, having the voting result on the polls, which have been taken on the motion that Mr. Tajuddin Moyosola Shobayo be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Remuneration of external auditors. We now come to items 4 on the agenda, which concerns authorizing the director to fix the remuneration of external auditors. Messrs. Ernst & Young have been appointed as the auditors of the company, and Section 361, Section B, 1B of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004 requires that their remuneration shall be fixed by the company at a general meeting, or in such manner as the company in general meeting may determine. I therefore hereby move that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditors for the year ending 31st of December 2020. Will someone please second the motion? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to second that motion in view that the SI Young have done very well and they're not increasing arbitrarily, and also want to commend the audit committee members. But that what the chairman already did, you have made us thorough, that they looked at everything tonight. So that means they're doing their work very well. But we didn't see him increase this year in audit fee. On that, I support the motion. Okay, sir, sir.
Thank you very much. I hereby direct that a poll on the motion be taken by the use of poll voting devices, and I call on the registrars to coordinate the voting procedure.
Thank you, Chairman. For the resolution to authorize directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors, we can commence the voting process. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to read the results. For the resolution to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors, we have a total of 100% of total vote cast both by proxy and in person at this meeting in favor of the resolution. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Lester. Ladies and gentlemen, having the voting result on the polls which have been taken on the motion that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditors for the year ending 31st of December 2020, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Election of audit committee members. The next item on the agenda concerns election of members of the audit committee. Your directors have resolved to appoint as their representative on the audit committee the following directors: Sir Sunday Nnamdi Nwosu, KSS, who has been introduced to you earlier as a member of the board of directors. Engineer Mohammed Gambo Uman, who has not attended this AGM physically. Mr. Tafik Oluwatoyin Salman, who has not attended physically because of COVID. The company secretary has received nominations for the 3 places to represent shareholders on the audit committee. I now call on the company secretary to read the names of the nominees.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with Section 359 of Section 5 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, members are to send to the company secretary at least 21 days before the annual general meeting nomination letters for any 3 shareholders to represent the shareholders on the audit committee. The nominations received by me and validated by the registrars are for the following. 1. Mr. Mohammed Gambo Page. 2. Mrs. Adebisi Oluwayemisi Bakari. 3. Dr. Awa Erem Okpan. Mr. Chairman, these are the nominations received and validated by the registrars.
Thank you, Company Secretary. In order to save time, a member could move a motion that election of the 3 nominated shareholders be taken by a single resolution. I therefore invite someone to move the appropriate motion. Dot. Thank you very much. That the election of Mr. Mohammed Gambo, okay, you've done that. So can somebody, you've moved it. So will someone please second the motion?
You move the motion.
Yeah, will someone move second the motion?
You move and list the people.
Thank you very much. So those in favor? Those against? I hereby declare the motion carried. Now that the motion has been carried, I hereby move that Mr. Mohamed Gambo Fage, Dr. Awa RM Akpan, Mrs. Adebisi Oluwayemisi Bakare, Sir Sunday Unamdi Nwosu KSS, Engineer Mohamed Gambo Omar, Mr. Tafik Oluwatoyin Saman, B, and are hereby duly elected audit committee members of the company until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting. Will someone please second the motion?
I, Matthew Akinlade, I second that motion.
Thank you very much. Those in favor? Those against? the ayes have it. I hereby declare that the motion is carried, and it is hereby resolved that Mr. Mohamed Gambo Fage, Dr. Awa RM Akpan, Mrs. Adebisi Oluwayemisi Bakare, Sir Sunday Unamdi Nwosu, Engineer Gambo Umar, Mr. Tafik Oluwatoyin Saman, be and are hereby duly elected audit committee members of the company until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the businesses of this meeting.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of the board and management of the company,
Those against?
I thank you for your physical and visual attendance, questions, comments, suggestions, and the keen interest you have demonstrated in the affairs of your company. Once again, I thank you and wish those of you that attended physically safe trip back home, and those observing visually safe stay at home, please. May God bless you and the company. I hereby declare the meeting closed and call on Alhaji Abdul Wahab Alajani to say the closing prayer.
I thank Almighty Allah for giving us the opportunity to hold this meeting peacefully. I pray that Almighty Allah will continue to guide the board and management of this company, give them the divine wisdom and the strength to continue to pilot the ship of the company to greater height. We are about to go to our respective homes, guide us throughout this journey, and by the grace of God, when next we will meet next year, when there will be no COVID-19 anymore, we will have cause to rejoice over a bumper harvest. All this and more I ask in the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fatiha. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-rahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim ghairil maghdubi alaihim waladdallin. Amen.